Oh hey, the one and only Dustin Bottoms here, founder of Kingdom Trucking Academy. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the pros and cons of double clutching versus floating gears. So let's get started. The concept of double clutching is not something I was completely familiar with when I first became a CDL instructor. It wasn't common because all of the trucks I operated were synchronized transmissions. So I'd always been shown how to float gears, I've always floated gears, and I've never actually seen anyone that trained me or anyone I was ever around double clutch. I'd heard of the concept, but if I'm being honest with you, I'd never seen it done. I'd never weighed the factors in it. And I honestly never had a discussion about it. Old truckers, like I'm talking old truckers, sitting around smoking cigarettes on the job, waiting to get loaded, all these things. Every now and again, you'd hear the term double clutching. But honestly, I was oblivious to what it really meant. And I never started asking questions or got into the weeds of it all. Oh hey, the one and only Dusty Bottoms, founder of Kingdom Trucking Academy and the creator of the Kingdom Driver Training Program. The Kingdom Driver Training Program is the curriculum we use at Kingdom Trucking Academy. We have maintained a 100% passing rate using the Kingdom Driver Training Program. The Kingdom Driver Training Program is a complete set of 9 comprehensive videos. You can purchase all 9 videos at kingdomtruckingacademy.com. Each video is designed for the requirements needed to pass your CDL exam. So follow me as I guide you through each stage of your CDL exam. You can purchase each video at kingdomtruckingacademy.com for $49.99. or the complete set for $299.99. That's a great price. These videos are some of the most comprehensive videos today on the market. Our curriculum is trademarked for a reason, because Kingdom Trucking Academy is the standard. Everyone else is just second place. So go to kingdomtruckingacademy.com to get your videos today. Roll on, truckers, roll on. But when I became a CDL instructor, it was something I learned had to be taught because it had to be done, meaning a new student or someone testing for the CDL test had to perform double clutching on their state exam in every state. So what is double clutching? Well, double clutching is something that you had to perform in non-synchronized transmissions. Essentially, it is clutch in, put it in neutral, clutch in to put it in gear. Or if you want to get technical, clutch in, clutch out, neutral, clutch in, clutch out, gear. Clutch in, clutch out, neutral, clutch in, clutch out, gear. I tell students all the time, it's a lot easier once you get the feel of it. And it's also not as difficult as you might think. But I'm not here to discuss how to double clutch. I'm here to discuss the difference between double clutching and floating gears, or the pros and cons. Why is double clutching required on your CDL test? Double clutching is the proper technique to use in non-synchro transmissions. It matches gear speed and allows for a safer, smoother shifting. In modern trucks, you float gears. They're synchronized transmissions. But regardless of whether or not you're in a modern truck or an older truck, why it's required on a CDL test is because it demonstrates to the examiner you understand proper shifting techniques. Double clutching also protects the drivetrain and wear on the gearbox. This is especially essential in mountainous terrain because it allows for a much controlled, smoother drive. Also, when you're accelerating going down a hill, you can't float gears. It's hard to match gear speed, and it's also unsafe. Double clutching is the best way to get it into gear and keep controlled, smooth descent down a mountain. It also shows to the examiner that you can operate complex non-synchro transmissions, older vehicles. In the 1970s, non-synchro transmissions were common. But by the 1980s, synchronized transmissions became the standard. There are still some industries, like logging, that still use heavy-duty non-synchros. And why do you float gears? Well, when you get hired on a company, big or small, they're gonna show you how to float gears in a modern truck. Why? Well, because it reduces wear, it saves the clutch, it also is less work, less strain. So physically it protects you. And as I was in excavation, operating in dump all day, backing up, you have to push in the clutch, push in the throttle to raise the end dump. So your throttle, clutch, brake, all day long. By the time I finished an 8-hour shift, my left half was throbbing. Now, granted, I had to use the clutch. The point I'm trying to make is if you're double clutching all day, man, your left leg is going to be tired. Yeah, you'll eventually get used to it, but it does protect you from the physicality. It also saves the gearbox and transmission. So, I already discussed double clutching saves the gearbox and transmission, but floating gears also saves the gearbox and transmission. But every carrier you go work for today, as soon as you graduate, they're gonna have you float gears. Why? Because again, it saves the clutch, all of these other factors. So who's right, who's wrong? Well, they're both right in reality. But if I want to get down to it, I float gears. Now, I do have to demonstrate double clutching. So every day, I'm having to double clutch, show my students how to double clutch. And most of the time, I try to make sure that I'm double clutching because it is something that I have to teach and use. So I want to make sure I'm proficient at it because there's nothing more embarrassing than grinding gears, not being able to get into gear while you're trying to demonstrate to a student how to do it. Then they're like, what the F? This guy doesn't even know how to do it. He's trying to teach me. I try to make sure that I still do it every day. You know, practice makes perfect. There are times when I'm in a hurry, I'm floating gears because it's something that I'm more comfortable doing. It's how I learned. And I'll be honest, floating gears to me is much easier. What I've noticed when I'm double clutching, man, my RPMs drop quicker. I'll grind gears more often than I will floating gears. Floating gears, it's much quicker to shift it in gear. So there are pros and there are cons. Now, where I used to get frustrated is I'd be like, why do they have to do it on the test? It's ridiculous. When they get out in the real world, they're gonna be floating gears. For a long time, I was irritated because I'm like, what they're required to do on the test isn't lining up with what they're gonna have to do in the real world. But as I started researching it and getting more knowledge, like anything, the more ignorant you are, the more hardened on these opinions that you really don't know much about. And so I try to do research so I know more about it, so I'm more educated. And the more I researched it and the more I understood, I am in agreement. I do think we should double clutch on the test. And now I understand why. Because it shows proper control. There are times when you are gonna have to double clutch, especially with heavy loads, descending down hills or mountains, you're gonna know how to do it. So if you don't know how to do it, if you've never been shown, oh man, that's gonna cause some problems. You're gonna be unsafe. So knowing how to do it is essential. So again, like I said, now I am in agreement with it. Kind of like some of the maneuvers, parallel parking, alley dock, offset, all these things that used to be required on the test, and now what's required on the test, it is what it is. But I do understand, a state director once told me when they were testing and they were told by an examiner this story that it demonstrates you have a fundamental understanding of how to control the truck and trailer. Well, it kind of goes in line with double clutching. The demonstration that you know how to control this vehicle and you know the proper technique. So I am in agreement on this one. It's something that should continue to be taught, and it's something that should be continued to be required on the state test. Most of you guys, as soon as you graduate, you are going to go in floating gears, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's your story, there's the history, that's your information on it. I hope you found this video informative. If you did, remember, give us a like and subscribe down below. I'm the one and only Dusty Bottoms, your trucking messiah. Roll on, truckers, roll on.